Good morning, children. I hope you have seen the previous video where I have explained about the differences between moderates and assertives. So, through the differences, you come to know who were moderates and who were assertives. Moderates, use calm and peaceful methods. Assertives, they stood for stronger methods of Swaraj. Clear? So, I hope so people have understood by now why split took place in Surat. The split means division took place in Surat, the place Gujarat, right everyone? Why moderate and assertives parted or separated their ways? Why? Because their methods and their conducts were totally different. Clear? So they were not an outsider. Don't get confused. They were the members of Indian National Congress. So here in this video, I'm going to explain you in depth about 2 to 3 assertives, right? The way I've explained you about the early nationalists in the previous video, where I've given you an in-depth explanation about Dadabhai Naoroji, Surendranath and Gopal Krishna Gokhale. So here in this video I'm going to explain you about 3 assertives, and these 3 assertives are in your syllabus, and you have to study in depth about them, what were their contributions. So let's start now. So here, outstanding assertive leaders. Now we have the very first leader, Bal Gangadhar Tilak. So all the time, we came across Bal Gangadhar Tilak when I, taught in the previous video, taught you all in the previous video, like his writings, his explosive writings in Maratha and Kesari against the Britishers really made him the enemies in the eyes of the Britishers, and Britishers out of anger sent him to Mandalay, the place in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Clear everyone. And they was totally secluded over there. This was just a punishment given by the Britishers to the Indians. So this much sacrifice on the part of Bal Gangadhar Tilak was there against the Britishers. So let's see now who was Bal Gangadhar Tilak and what contributions he has made for India, right? And plus Indian National Congress. Let's see now how he has contributed and what he has contributed. Plus now the very first thing, now he has been associated with the activity of Deccan Society founded under Justice Ranade. Justice Ranade has founded the Deccan Society, right? And this society was basically for teachers. Clear? The Deccan Society was formed for teachers, and here he has given his contribution as a teacher. He simply teaches the students for free. Clear everyone? Next, he said Swaraj is my birthright and I will have it. His captions read like that. His Swaraj, he simply the Swaraj, he said Swaraj, he was not he was not going to demand for Swaraj. Swaraj is his right. Swaraj is the right of all Indians, and they have to get for at any cost. They wanted Swaraj, right? By hook or by crook they wanted Swaraj, right? He said it is my right, it is my birthright. Clear? And they will not demand for it. Next, believed in strong pressure. That means the Maratha and the Kesari. They simply published in Maratha and Kesari what the strong pressure which Britishers did to the Indians. Clear? So he published all in his writing and made bitter attacks on government through his writing. Then in 1893 started the celebration of Ganpati festival, Shivaji festival, to instill in the masses a spirit of discipline and patriotism. So he was revivalism. This was known as revivalism. He revived the festivals, and this festivals by celebrating Ganpati, right, by celebrating Shivaji, the people get inspiration from all these heroes, right, from all these the heroes of the history, the gods. Clear everyone? Who sacrificed their lives, who were the heroes who simply give inspirations to the Indians, right? So he wanted to revive such type of kind of festivals, so that Indians stood for discipline, Indians stood for patriotism. Clear everyone? So all these such kind of words started emerging up during the time of Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Clear everyone? Why? Because he has simply resorted to revivalism. Revivalism means he started reviving the festival in honor of Shivaji, in honor of Lord Ganpati. Clear? More contributions we have. He is known for organizing akhadas and lathi clubs in Maharashtra to make the youth brave. Now here, class, the main contribution on the part of Bal Gangadhar Tilak was what, class? He simply organized akhada known as wrestling ground, right everyone? Or lathi clubs. Lathi, he simply at that time Indians were banned in taking or in holding arms. The Britishers totally banned the arms. Clear everyone? So what they did, now they did, obviously the Bal Gangadhar, there has to be some other option, right? And what was option? He simply trained Indians in lathis, how to use lathis against the Britishers. So for that he organized the Lathi Club. With the minimum resources, he started training Indians against the Britishers without any complaining. Clear? Without any complaint, he simply started training Indians, right? So this way he wanted to make Indians brave, and this way they can defy. This way they protest the British Raj. Next, in 1896, he led a no rent campaign. Here, he simply asked, peasants not to pay any rent. Clear. Next, participated in the anti-partition movement. Next, obviously, in the anti-partition movement, they were highly angry with the partition of Bengal, so he has participated. Next, in 1916, he founded Home Rule League in Chennai and Maharashtra, and fused the nation with new strength and vigor. Now, I'm going to explain you in the upcoming videos. Like, he has founded the Home Rule League. Home Rule League means asking for self-government, right? Asking for self-government, stood for stronger method of Swaraj. All these were coming under Home Rule League. Home rule matlab he wanted to rule over home. Rule means the right to rule over home means India, and here their home was India, and he wanted to rule over India. Clear. By stood for stronger method in forming the self-government. Clear, everyone? So he has founded two bodies with the help of any peasant, right, in Chennai and Maharashtra. Next, if you see here in the title Lokmanya, right, the public, just because of public, he has a good support of the public, and public respect him, and public, give him the epithet or the title Lokmanya. Clear. He was a forerunner of Gandhi. Forerunner means Gandhi respect. Gandhi has adopted all his policies and programs in his upcoming movement, which which he in the future, which is going to start, is non-cooperation and civil disobedience. So he has highly, Gandhi has also used non-violence. So all these methods are already adopted earlier by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Next, if you see his great works include the Gita Rahasya. Now he has written great works, right? Gita Rahasya, the Orion, and the Arctic Home in the Vedas. He has simply mentioned about Vedas also, right? So all these contributions made by Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and these contributions paved the way for nationalism, right? Paved the way of unity among the hearts of the Indians. Let's move on to another slide now. Now we have Bipin Chandra Pal. The next assertive was Bipin Chandra Pal. Born in the year 1858 and died in 1932. So he was a prophet of bold, self-reliant nationalism. He was called the, prophet of self-reliant, means self-dependent, right? He simply focused. He wanted Indians to be self-dependent. Clear, everyone? Next, he joined the Brahmo Samaj movement in 1876. He was highly inspired from Brahmo Samaj. If you need, Brahmo Samaj was founded by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, and Brahmo Samaj was sort of a reform movement, and where the Brahmo Samaj criticized what the evils, the social evils that crept into Indian society, like in the form of sati, where widows were not allowed to remarry. Clear, everyone? So all these are totally banned under Brahmo Samaj, and he has been associated with Brahmo Samaj, right, in the year 1976. He made a forceful speech in which he pleaded the Arms Act should be repealed. He asked his speeches was what he simply stood against the Britishers, and he wanted Britishers to repeal the Arms Act. Repeal means to abolish the Arms Act, right? Arms Act means the Britishers passed an act where Indians were not allowed to use the arms. Okay. He was a great journalist. New India 901. He has written New India. In an article he wrote, individuals are born, individuals die, but the nation liveth forever. That means he said you have a love for your nation, not as an individual soul, right, everyone? Here, whatever work they are doing for the nation. They are doing for their motherland. They stood for nationalist and patriotic feeling. Clear. Next, in the anti-partition movement, it stood for boycott and Swadeshi, right? He started focusing on education that aroused nationalist passion against the foreign rule, right? And he focused on education. Which type of education? As I told you, the education, vocational education, the secular education, right? And the religious education, the education based on character, the education based on secularism, where differences are being forgotten. Clear, everyone? So all this sort of education, aroused the nationalist passion against the foreign rule. Next, another contribution of Bipin Chandra Pal was what Bipin did not support the non-cooperation movement launched by Gandhi in 1920. Now, I'll be explaining you about the non-cooperation movement that would be started by Gandhi in the future in the year 1920. Clear. Now, this non-cooperation movement, the main objective was what Gandhi has started this movement, but what Gandhi has simply asked public not to resort to any sort of violence while starting this movement, right? And now Bal Gangadhar Tilak, obviously, because he was an assertive, so he stood for stronger methods. He was not going to follow at any cost the method of the method of non-violence, because he is violence. He is violent by nature. He never used the arms against the Britishers, but he was aggressive against the Britishers. That's why he didn't support Gandhi in non-cooperation movement. Next, his publication include The Spirit of Indian Nationalism and The New Economic Menace to India. Right, he has written these books to eradicate means to remove the Indians' poverty. Right, he proposed few methods. Right, few methods was proposed by Bipin Chandrapal so that the poverty can be removed. Was what? The development of industry. If the very first thing he wanted, the industries to be developed. Right, tax the rich. He said ki if you want the money to be there, the money to be there in Indian treasury, so you have to tax the rich. Rich can pay the taxes very well, and the money which was collected through the taxes has to be spent on the welfare of the Indians. Clear, everyone? Next, he demanded for 48 hours of work in a week, increase in the wages. Clear, and the practice of Swadeshi and boycott. Clear, everyone? So all these, all these methods he demanded so that the poverty can be eradicated or removed. Clear? So these methods were proposed by Bipin Chandra Pal. Let's move to another slide now. Okay, the next assertive was, earlier we did two assertives. One was Balangadhar Tilak. Next was what? This one. If you see this, the Bipin Chandrapal, right? And the third one was Lala Lajpat Rai, right? Lala Lajpat Rai, born in the year 1865 and died in 1928. Now he was a fearless fighter for Swaraj, right? He was also fought for Swaraj, and very well assertives stood for Swaraj and they wanted stronger methods for Swaraj. Clear? He has been closely associated with Arya Samaj movement. Like if you see, Bipin Chandrapal has been closely associated with Brahmo Samaj, but this Lal Lajpat Rai, he simply associated himself with what? Arya Samaj. And I will explain you about Brahmo Samaj, Arya Samaj in chapter 2, under growth of nationalism. Don't get confused, right? Arya Samaj, founded by Swami Dayanand Saraswati, where he has supported all Indians. He wanted all Indians to be to go for Vedas, to study Veda. Right, everyone? Next, he wrote biographies on Mazzini, Garibaldi, Swami Dayanand. Right, then his publication include The Call to Young India, England, Debt to India, and The Political Future of India. That means he has written almost 3 books. Right, next, in 1916 he founded Indian Home Rule League in US. See, one Home Rule League founded by Balangadhar Tilak along with Annie Besant in India. That means in Chennai and Maharashtra. Another Home Rule League was founded by Lala Lajpat Rai, don't get confused, in America in the year 1916. Right, everyone? And started a monthly magazine, Young India, to spread Swaraj. And there only in America itself, he started a monthly magazine, right? That means Young India, to spread the word Swaraj. Clear? Let's move on to another slide now. Now, he has participated in the anti-partition movement and the Swadeshi movement, right? He has participated, everyone knows, all the assertives, stood for anti-partition movement, right? Like be it Balangadhar Tilak, be it Bipin Chandrapal, be it Lala Lajpat Rai, right? So he has participated in the anti-partition movement and the Swadeshi movement, in fact, toward England also, and carried bold and defiant ideas. In fact, he simply toured England, right? And here in England, he started, making them aware about the conditions of Indians living in India, what they were facing, and what Britishers were doing for the Indians, what they were doing, what sort of Bengal they simply partition. All these things they started exposing, they started telling and making Indians and Englishmen aware, right, in England, aware about all these things in England. Next, he wanted a bolder action, including civil disobedience movement, and this was another movement founded by Gandhi. This will be I'll be explaining you in the upcoming videos, right? So civil disobedience movement, obviously, where they have to they have to stop paying the taxes on the salt. Clear? I'll be explaining you later on. So here he wanted the bolder action to be taken while implementing the civil disobedience movement. They formed the Swaraj Party to contest election to the Legislative Council 1923 and formed the Nationalist Party. Now he has he was very much an active member of the Indian National Congress. So what happened? He has founded the Swaraj Party, where in the Swaraj Party they got themselves elected in the Legislative Council, so that they come to know about internal methods, internal strategies of the Britishers. Clear? In 1923, and formed the Nationalist Party. Also this party all these party members they simply pave the way to the Indians about they make them aware about nationalism feeling, the patriotic feelings. Clear? Next, while leading a demonstration against Simon Commission in 1928, he was brutally assaulted. And at last, children, now here, what happened? Simon Commission, John Simon, he came to India in the year 1928, and he was really wanted to investigate about his policies, how far Indians have adopted, the commission, how far the Indians, have reacted against the reforms and all. So he simply came to India to check all these things, clear. But obviously, whenever this, because he was a British and he has founded such a commission where no Indians were appointed. I'll be explaining in the upcoming videos, right? So what happened? What Indians did against this Simon Commission? Now Indians started protesting against the Simon, right? And among the protest, among the Indians, we have in bold assertive Lal Lajpat Rai also along with the public, and here he was brutally assaulted while leading the protest movement against the Simon Commission. And later on, he died. He received a severe blows and he died. Clear, everyone? And this really gave a shock to the Indians. Clear? He gave up his life for the cause of independence, for the cause of nationalism, for the cause of patriotism. He has given up his life. This really gave a shock to the Indians. Clear? What happened now? The people called him Sher-e Punjab just because of his bold spirit, his self-reliant spirit. The people called him Sher-e Punjab, the Lion of Punjab. Right, everyone? He has written, right, the problems of socialism and labor organization. Perhaps he was the first Indian to make, and he simply, written the problems about socialism, where the society was not. He talked about an equal society, right, and labor organization. He talked about the conditions, the rights of the laborers, right. He was the first assertive who has talked about, who has simply focused on these two words, these two organizations, be it labor, talked about labor, or be it socialism, an equal society, right. So this way we have reached to the end of the video class. So I hope so till here everyone everyone has understood who were assertives now by reading about their contributions for India, for the Indian National Congress. So we have realized that they stood for stronger method, be it Bal Gangadhar Tilak through his writing Maratha and Kesari, clear, be it if you know Bipin Chandrapal, he was called the prophet of bold self-reliant nationalism, or be it Lal Lajpat Rai, who has given up his life during Simon Commission, during the protest against Simon Commission. So all these assertives have given up the word suffering and sacrifice for the sake of the nation, for the sake of the motherland. So I hope so people have understood by now who were assertives and what were their methods. And assertives simply, and who simply gave them, how they rose against the Britishers. What gave assertives to rise against the Britishers? It was only the main anger born out of the Bengal, born out of the partition of Bengal. Clear, everyone? So I hope so people have understood by now. Till then, thank you.